In the vast waters of the Atlantic Ocean, where white-capped waves relentlessly crash against the sides of ships, modern trawlers work day and night to catch seafood to supply the global market. The fishing process on these ships is continuous and requires a smooth coordination between people, technology and long-standing maritime experience. Each trip begins in port, where sailors and captains carefully prepare everything from fuel, food to checking the positioning system, radar, trawlers and freezers. When the ship sets sail, it usually takes several days to travel to areas with large fish reserves such as the coast of Newfoundland, the coast of West Africa or the sea around Greenland. Here, the captain and positioning experts will use sonar systems and maritime data to identify schools of fish moving under the water. Once a target is detected, the ship will move to the appropriate location. Maintain a stable speed and proceed to drop the net. Trawl nets are often huge, hundreds of meters long, designed as a funnel-shaped bag with a wide mouth and a tapering tail, helping to gather fish at the end of the net. When the net is lowered, two metal doors attached to both sides will help keep the mouth of the net open when pulled underwater. Thanks to the resistance of the current, the ship will drag the net for anywhere from a few dozen minutes to a few hours depending on the density of fish and sea conditions. Once it feels that there is enough fish, the crew begins the process of collecting the net. The hydraulic winch system will roll the net up in sections, while the fishermen check, untangle and adjust the twisted sections. When the final net bag is brought up to the deck, tons of fish will be dumped onto the deck to the sound of excited cheers. Immediately, the fish will be sorted by hand or automatic machine. Separating high-value species such as cod, herring, flounder, and brought to the preliminary processing area. Here, a group of sailors will clean, freeze or box to ensure maximum freshness. Some modern vessels even have mini processing plants on board, allowing fish to be filleted, vacuum sealed and frozen within minutes of being caught. Throughout the voyage, the vessel will continuously update the location of the fish, weather conditions, ocean currents and adjustment orders from the port to optimize fishing efficiency. Each trip can last from a few days to a few weeks, depending on the desired yield and sea conditions. When the volume of fish reaches the storage limit of the cold storage compartment, the vessel will return to port, where hundreds of tons of fresh fish are unloaded, transferred to refrigerated trucks and distributed to processing plants or wholesale markets across Europe. North America and beyond. The process of trawling in the Atlantic is a complex, modern operation but still imbued with maritime tradition, where humans constantly fight nature to exploit resources efficiently, safely and sustainably. However, behind each full net of fish are tireless efforts, working shifts that last day and night in the vast ocean. Fishermen on a boat are usually divided into shifts, working in rotation, each shift lasting from 6 to 8 hours. But at peak times, the entire crew can have to work continuously for hours without stopping. Life on a trawler is not easy. Big waves, strong winds, cold, and the swaying of the boat make the work extremely hard and dangerous. Every move must be careful. Every operation with heavy equipment is potentially risky if strict safety procedures are not followed. Sailors must wear specialized life jackets, non-slip boots, hard hats, and always stay in contact with their supervisor when working near the trawl area or operating machinery. In winter, the weather is much harsher when ice and snow cover the deck. The outdoor temperature drops below zero, causing the seawater to freeze. At that time, the sailors must constantly break the ice to avoid the ship losing balance or the trawl system freezing. In the control cabin, the captain and technicians must always be on duty to monitor the radar map, wind speed, wave height and the movement route of the fish schools to make quick and accurate decisions. In addition, each trip must strictly comply with regulations on protecting aquatic resources. Electronic monitoring systems will record all fishing activities, the volume and species of fish caught to ensure that the allowed quota is not exceeded. Some young fish on the banned list or fish that do not meet the standard size will be released back to the sea according to regulations. Atlantic fisheries management organizations such as NAFO and ICCAT also regularly inspect and monitor fishing activities of fishing vessels to maintain the sustainable development of the ocean. In parallel with fishing activities, modern trawlers also focus on environmental aspects. Household waste is collected and processed in a closed system, not discharged directly into the sea. Some vessels are equipped with fuel-saving systems, utilizing solar energy or wind turbines to reduce CO2 emissions. Each time the vessel returns to port, the fish is not only processed, but the entire vessel is also inspected, maintained, disinfected and prepared for the next voyage. Despite facing countless hardships, fishing on trawlers in the Atlantic always attracts people who are passionate about the ocean. They are not only fishermen, but also brave soldiers of the ocean, carrying the pride of contributing to feeding millions of people around the world. Amidst the roaring sound of engines, amidst the vast waves and vast waters, the trawlers still move forward silently, continuing the cycle of a traditional profession that has been associated with humanity for centuries inside the ship. Once the nets have been collected and the fish have been pre-processed, the workers in the freezer begin an equally important stage, product preservation. After being sorted, the fish are washed with cold seawater and put into a quick freezer at -40 degrees Celsius to preserve the quality of the meat and its freshness. Some large ships are also equipped with automatic packaging lines, which help the fish to be placed on trays, vacuum sealed and neatly arranged in deep holds below deck. This quick freezing helps minimize the formation of large ice crystals in the fish tissue, preserving the full flavor and nutritional value. Meanwhile, the team of technicians regularly checks the temperature, humidity, and ventilation systems in the cold storage to ensure that all the fish are not damaged or contaminated with bacteria during storage. All operations are recorded and labeled with product batch codes for future traceability. Along with the technical work, there are also chefs and logistics staff on board to ensure meals and living conditions for the entire crew. Meals must be nutritious and rich in energy to help fishermen cope with harsh weather and maintain their physical strength throughout long shifts. Although life is cramped and simple, the bond between members creates an atmosphere like a small family in the middle of the ocean. They share stories, hot meals, and laughter to ease their homesickness and fatigue during days away from shore. On calm nights, after work, some people sit on the railing to smoke, watch the stars and listen to the waves to find peace in the midst of a harsh life. During the trip, the ship not only targets fish but also has to constantly monitor the weather, receive warnings from satellites or naval meteorological centers. If a storm approaches, the captain will immediately adjust the route, avoid the danger zone or bring the ship to a safe anchorage. Some ships are also equipped with anti-vibration, anti-roll systems and emergency signal transmission equipment to respond to any emergency situation. There are also unlucky trips. Schools of fish disappear, or equipment malfunctions, forcing fishermen to wait for hours at sea, in freezing weather, to repair or change course. Those failures are something that anyone in this profession must learn to accept and overcome. But every time they return, regardless of how much they have harvested, they still carry with them a sense of pride, that they are an indispensable part of the global seafood supply chain, that their efforts have contributed to bringing protein-rich, delicious meals to the dining tables of millions of families around the world. And then, after a few short days of rest, they set sail again, continuing the cycle of catching, preserving, transporting. In the vast ocean, where trawlers still silently plow the ocean floor day and night to bring back profits from nature, in a fair exchange between human labor and marine products as the trawler approaches shore. After weeks at sea, the final stage of the fishing cycle begins, unloading and transferring the catch. In the control room, the captain contacts the fishing port to inform them of the arrival time, the cargo volume, the type of fish, and requests for assistance with unloading. On deck, the crew begins to check the cold storage system, rearranging the crates, and securing them to ensure safety when lifting them by crane at the port. The carefully frozen crates are now tagged with identification codes, accompanied by shipment records, catch logs, food safety certificates, and paperwork proving compliance with catch quotas. All steps are closely monitored by port authorities and fisheries management agencies. When the ship arrives, refrigerated containers are waiting. Cranes and loading equipment work at full capacity, bringing pallets of cargo down to the dock, quickly loading them onto trucks for transport to processing plants or directly to distribution warehouses. Some high-value fish can be auctioned right at the port fish market, where traders and importers are willing to pay high prices for the best quality fish. While the cargo is being transported, inside the ship, Sailors begin cleaning the entire ship, from the deck, cold storage, machinery to the trawl system, in preparation for the next journey. Many ships have strict disinfection procedures after each voyage to prevent the spread of bacteria, mold or residual fish odors. The ship's engineer will recheck the entire engine system, lubricants, batteries and mechanical parts. Anything damaged will be replaced right at the workshop near the port. At the same time, the captain and fleet manager will meet to discuss the effectiveness of the trip, learn from the experience and prepare a plan for the next fishing trip, which may include changing the area, adjusting the trawling technique, or retraining new sailors. For experienced sailors, after going ashore, they take advantage of the rare few days to visit their families. Rest and recover their health. However, in their hearts, the sea always calls. The sound of the waves, the sound of the engine, the smell of the salty wind and the rhythm of life on the boat seem to have become flesh and blood. Some people have been attached to the profession all their lives, from father to son, considering the sea as their second home. Although they know that danger is always lurking, no one can bear to leave the ocean, where trawlers not only catch fish but also catch the dreams, beliefs and survival of many coastal families. The Atlantic trawling industry is a clear testament to human resilience in the face of majestic nature, to the ability to conquer the ocean with intelligence and labor. It is not just a job, but a part of maritime culture, a symbol of courage, of the will to overcome all challenges to access the precious resources that nature has bestowed. And so, the cycle continues, the ship leaves the port again. The sailors set sail again. The sea opens a new chapter of the endless journey of making a living in the vast Atlantic Ocean. In the midst of the hustle and hustle of the mainland, few people imagine the harshness and the intensity of the relentless labor of the people who are struggling day and night between the ocean on the next ships. It is a completely separate world, where time is not equal to hours, but is measured by batches of mesh, by the amount of fish collected, equal to the number of times to fight the big wind waves. Each trip is a gamble, can win a large, can also be empty-handed, but for fishermen who live on the sea, they have no choice but to continue to go out, continue efforts, continue to trust in the ocean. There are also challenging trips, when the ship has a problem in the middle of the sea, such as engine damage. Net, signaling devices, forcing the crew to respond quickly, together to repair in deprivation, cold and waves. In those moments of life and death, teamwork, solidarity and seasoned experience are the only thing that helps them overcome. There have been ships that have lost contact for many days, drifting in the middle of the ocean, while the mainland is expected to believe. But then, when the light of the port appeared on the horizon, when the ship docked safely with the fish compartment full, all hardships seemed to disappear, leaving only joy and relief on the tanned face of the fisherman. For them, every time he returns is a rebirth. Fisheries, dangerous moments, rare moments of laughter on the ship become a valuable memory, recounted by the family tray of family rice, the warm wine glass or in the proud eyes of children. This generation continued the other generation. The Sea Far-by net boat continued to exist and develop. Not only for the livelihood but also because of her intense sea love. As a part of flesh and blood in the blood vessels. And behind the fresh fish trays sold at the supermarket, the attractive dishes at the restaurant, are so much effort, sweat and the tears of the silent workers in the ocean. They do not expect to be known. Do not need to be praised. Just hope that each net is full. Each train is safe. And the family always watches them from the mainland. The remaining. The sea will be the place to keep the invisible memories. The invisible footprints on each sea. The net ships, seemingly inanimate, are witnesses for so many hard but proud journeys. And so on. Amidst the vast Atlantic Ocean. When the dawn peeked out after the mist, the sound of the explosion rang again. The sound of the underwater net was whispering. And the children of the sea began a new day. Following the unnamed work series. Without rest. But meaningful of a profession that has been living in the world with his quiet sacrifice, and when night fell, covering the sea in a thick black. Only the lights from the deck shining out in the cold salt fog. The trawler still trudged forward, continuing its relentless search. In the control room, the captain strained his eyes to monitor each sonar signal returning from the deep sea, his hand firmly holding the steering wheel like a master of fate. Below deck, a few sailors still quietly completed the final preparation steps, their calloused hands quickly sorting the fish amid the rumbling of machinery and the urgent sound of waves lapping against the ship's side. They worked as if they had belonged to this rhythm for a long time, a rhythm of life unlike anywhere else in the world. There were no holidays, no weekends, no fixed time to rest. Only the sea was the work schedule, the boss, the giver and also the most severe punisher. But in that harshness, there still exists a haunting beauty, the beauty of resilience, of diligence, of human fortitude in the face of vast nature. Every time the net is pulled up, whether it is heavy with fish or light in disappointment, there is always a ray of hope. Hope for the next catch, at a further coordinate, in the ebb and flow of the tide that only those who have been attached for a long time can feel intuitively. They believe in the sea, in the ship, and in their own working hands. It is a belief that does not need to be expressed in words, but is deeply engraved in every step held tightly on the deck, every cast of the net, every gaze looking at the far horizon. Out there, the world is still moving.